everyone to this afternoon's meeting of the Senate Committee on Legislative Operations and Elections. Today we will be hearing Senate Bill 82, which proposes to amend the charter of the City of Sparks. Secretary, we do have a quorum present. Please mark any members who are not present as they arrive. Before we begin our agenda item and hear Senate Bill 82, I'd like to briefly explain how our virtual meetings work this session. As many of you know, for the time being, our legislative building is closed to the public as a result of the pandemic. All committee meetings are being held virtually, meaning committee members, staff, and presenters are participating either through Zoom or by telephone. As most of you are doing now, you may view committee meetings online through the legislature's streaming service or on the legislature's YouTube channel. As in previous sessions, all committee-related information is available on NELIS, the Nevada Electronic Legislative Information System, which is accessible via the legislature's website. For this session, the public has 3 ways to submit public opinion and testimony. Please note that each way is slightly different. Some become part of the public record and others are opinions shared for legislators' information. The 3 ways are: 1, providing testimony via telephone during committee meetings; 2, submitting written testimony; and 3, using the Nevada Legislature's opinion poll application. Testimony via telephone during committee meetings. To testify on bills or provide public comment during the 2021 legislative session, members of the public must register on the NELIS system on the Nevada Legislature's website and call in to the phone number provided. To register, you must click on the Participate button under each meeting and fill out the requested information. After registering, you must call the number provided at the registration to be placed in the queue to testify either in support, opposition, or neutral on a bill, or to provide public comment. Our broadcast and production services team will prompt you when it is your turn to speak. This is a first-come, first-served option, and unfortunately, testimony may be limited. The public can send in written testimony. Written testimony can be sent via email as a PDF document to the following email address: SENLOE, the @ symbol, sen.state, STATE, .nv.us. And the first S is capitalized, the LOE is capitalized, and then everything else is lowercase. Public can also fax a document to be submitted as written testimony to the following fax number: area code 775-684-6500. We ask that written testimony include the bill number, a clear title, such as testimony in support of Senate Bill ABC, and the individual's name and organization if you are with an organization. All of these submissions become public exhibits posted on NELIS for your and the public's consideration, and will become part of the public record. Opinion poll. The Nevada Legislature's website opinion poll application has been used in previous sessions, but now it's more prominently displayed and located in more places than before. It is available by clicking on Submit Opinion. That's a button that's near the date of each meeting. Through this feature, the public can provide comments or just indicate your position on a bill. The comments are only available to legislators and do not become part of the public record. For public comment, the committee will set aside time at the end of today's meeting for people to call in. If you miss a meeting and want to know what happened, all committee meetings are recorded and posted on the Nevada Legislature's website, usually by the next day. I know that was a lot of housekeeping information, but do not hesitate to contact me or committee staff if you have any questions or need help. I'd like to now open the hearing on Senate Bill 82. We are very lucky today to have Senator Ratty with us to present Senate Bill 82. I believe also with her is Mr. Michael Hillerby, Wes Duncan, Bob LaRiviere. I'll start with Senator Ratty. Welcome to the committee, Senator. Please proceed when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Orenshaw, and thank you so much for the opportunity to present to you Senate Bill 82 today. I'm here primarily to provide some background. So many of you know that I was a Sparks City Council member for 8 years with the City of Sparks before having the good grace and luck to join the Nevada State Senate. And wanted to just make sure that both for the folks who are on the committee, but also for the public that's watching us, that we remind folks that in the state of Nevada, we have some cities that are created and have all of their laws and regulations in Nevada revised statutes. And we have another group of cities that are known as charter cities. In charter cities, they have what's known as a charter, and it is kind of like the constitution for the city, for lack of a better way to describe it. For some charter cities, they have a charter committee, and that committee is comprised of representatives in the community who help to advise the state and the city council on any changes they might want to make to the charter. Not every charter city has a charter committee, but we're lucky enough in the city of Sparks that we do. So the city of Sparks gets one bill draft every session. And if the charter committee wants to have a bill draft, they are often in the position of needing to find a legislator who will provide that vehicle for them. And so with my relationship with the city of Sparks, my good friends who are here today, I have always been willing to give the charter committee, which is again a group of citizens who are advising the state and advising the city council, a bill draft so that they can bring forward any changes they may want to make to the city's charter. So I give you all of that background so as to say this is not necessarily my bill, though you see my name on it, but rather this is the idea that the charter committee wanted to bring forward. That said, I generally support the bill, but would ask that you direct your questions and all of that to the charter committee representatives who are here today. So we're lucky to have two folks here to present the bill. The first is Bob La Riviere. He is the chair of the charter committee and was leading the charter committee through the process to decide what changes they might want to make. He's a private citizen, not elected, appointed. This is not a paid job for him, but a volunteer who leads the committee. And then you have Wes Duncan, who is the assistant city attorney for the city of Sparks, who is here to help present the bill and address any legal questions. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to the two of them to tell you about their process and how they came to bringing this bill forward.
Thank you, Senator Ratty, and we're very lucky to have you here with your experience in local government, and thank you for continuing to work for Sparks so well at your legislative level.
You bet, and I will apologize in advance. I will hop off probably before the bill presentation is over so that I can go chair Health and Human Services at 4 o'clock.
Absolutely, thank you for your time. Whoever would like to begin, either Mr. Duncan, former Assemblyman Duncan, who I had the pleasure of serving with, or Mr. La Riviere, whoever would like to.
Well, thank you, Chair Orenshaw, and Vice Chair Lang, members of the committee. For the record, my name is Wes Duncan. I'm the Chief Assistant City Attorney for the City of Sparks. It's great to be here with you today. Myself and Mr. La Riviere are presenting SB 82. Really, in a nutshell, the bill seeks to ensure that Section 5.020 of the City of Sparks Charter, that those provisions dealing with the primary and general election and a few other matters really mirror the provisions that are found in NRS 293C 180, NRS 293C 175, paragraph 5, and finally NRS 293C.387, and that's going to be in paragraph 8. Really, the City of Sparks has been using and operating under NRS 293, which, as you know, governs city elections in the Nevada revised statute. They've been using that as their guide, but as laws changed, specifically when we went to ward-only voting within cities in the last couple of legislatures, the charter hasn't caught up with the NRS. So really what the bill is, what you'll see and what I'll present on is really the charter is just wanting to mirror the exact language that's already in statute. I'll turn it over to Mr. La Riviere, who can just give you some brief background on why the charter committee thought this was important, and then I'll just walk you through the language of the bill if you have any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Bob La Riviere for the record, Sparks, chair of the Sparks Charter Committee. Just a little brief history, like Julia and Wes alluded to. Back in 2016, the Charter Committee voted to amend the charter under 5.010. And that's when we went from citywide elections to word-only voting. So what we want to do now is amend 5.020 to come up to speed. So really what we're looking to do is in the elections, if there's only one applicant for office, then that candidate is going to be declared the elected winner and does not appear on any ballots. And then if there's two or more candidates, they'll go on the general ballot. So this is just some cleanup language to bring it forward. I know that was quick, but Wes, do you want to jump in?
Yeah, happy to do that. And I can just walk the members just briefly through each section. So as you see in section 1 of the bill, section what's to be amended 5.020 primary elections, you see in paragraph 2 the sentence that starts at if at 5 p.m. on the last day for filing. That's the exact language actually of NRS 293C dash 180, 180 paragraphs 1 through 3. And so the charter is just seeking to amend that. A means basically, just as Bob said, if there's only one candidate that files for office, they're going to be declared the winner, which is consistent with NRS, and there won't be an election. Paragraph B basically says that if there's, that's a fancy way of saying if there are two people that have filed for the race, then instead of having a primary, those two people will just be on the general election ballot. And then C basically says that if there's 3 or more candidates in that race, they will all go through the primary. And that again conforms with what's in NRS 293C 180 paragraph 3. The next section there in section 3A, where there's that change, it says one candidate receives the majority of the votes cast in the election. That is to conform with NRS 293C 175.5. And then the B part of that is the exact language again of NRS 293C 175. It essentially says that if no one receives, when you're dealing with 3 or more candidates in the primary election, if no one receives a majority of the votes, then the top 2 vote getters in the primary will then go on to the general election. And finally, there for the amendment to section 2 of our charter, down at the end in paragraph 3, where there's the new language starting with next succeeding the meeting at which the canvass of the returns of the election is made. That is to conform with the requirements of NRS 293C 387.8. And basically there has to be a canvass of the returns within 10 days if there's no pandemic or emergency, or within 13 days, which is consistent with AB4 from the special session of last year. So what this is essentially saying, which again mirrors what's in NRS, is that after the election, within 10 days, there's going to be the canvass and the certification of the election. And then at the very next city council meeting is where either the existing incumbents or the new elected officials will then take office. And again, that conforms with NRS. Happy to answer any questions about any of those things if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you, Mr. LaRiviere. Members, any questions? Senator Sievers-Ganser.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Senator Ratty, for bringing this bill forward. I'm just wondering, so you're basically catching up the City of Sparks charter. What about other municipalities? Does anybody else have to change their charters to conform? And if you don't change, what happens? Because you've got state law that basically creates the same scenario, right? So if you don't do this versus you do it, and if you do it, do other municipalities need to do the same?
So for the record, Wes Duncan. So in our charter, we spell out that we have to conform with the state law. So I can speak to the City of Sparks that even though the charter didn't have this specific language, we're actually operating under NRS 293C, which governs all the city elections. And so I know, at least from the city of Sparks, our perspective is, of course, that the state law is going to always govern, and we're going to follow that law. In terms of, and I don't want to speak for any other municipalities, but I assume that they all have the same understanding that if their charter hasn't caught up with the state law, that they're going to follow the state law.
And that's what I was thinking, is that you're governed by state law anyway. So this is just, I guess, tying them together. So, but I would imagine we have a number of municipalities who are out of conformance. So thank you.
I appreciate the question Senator Seaver's answered. And one question I have is, right now with the primary elections in Sparks, if there are 3 or more candidates and one candidate gets 50% plus 1 vote, is the election over, or do the top 2 go to the general? Does this change how those primaries would work, or would that stay the same with this change?
So for the record, Wes Duncan. So again, consistent with what this body did in the last legislative session, that's still going to be the same. So if there's 3 in the primary and one person gets 50 plus 1, that person who got the 50 plus 1 would be declared the winner, and there would be no general election. So that doesn't change that at all. What it does clarify is that if there's only 2 people that are in that are in the primary, there's going to be no primary election. It's just going to go straight to a general election.
Thank you for clarifying that, Mr. Duncan. Members, any additional questions regarding Senate Bill 82 for Mr. Duncan or Mr. LaRiviere? Okay, I'm not seeing any additional questions. I would.
Mr. Chair, I neglected too. I did want to thank Senator Ratty. I do know that BDRs are scarce, and the city of Sparks really does appreciate you is up to date, and it reflects what state law says. So thanks for your leadership and always working with the city. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan. I think if you had chosen not to express that gratitude, we could have hit the record for shortest bill hearing so far this legislative session. So I'm a little disappointed in that, but that's okay. I'm happy to do it.
Thanks.
Well, thank you, Mr. Duncan. Thank you, Senator Ratty, for bringing this bill forward. I'd now like to open this up for testimony in support, unless members have any other questions that I missed, but I didn't see any. I'd like to now open it up to testimony in support of Senate Bill 82. So anybody who'd like to speak in support, broadcast and production services. I know we've got Mr. Hillerby, who I believe is in support of the measure, and then I'd like to open it up to broadcast to see if anyone else is in support on the phone lines.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Michael Hillerby on behalf of the city of Sparks. Not to run afoul of Senator Ratty, I would just say thanks as well. Thanks to her, thanks to Mr. LaRiviere and the Charter Committee, to Mr. Duncan and the City Attorney's Office, and thanks to all of you for hearing the bill. We support it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hillerby. Members, any questions? Not seeing any. Broadcast and production. We can now go to the phone lines if there's anybody who'd like to speak in support of Senate Bill 82.
Chair, the public comment line and testimony line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Thank you. Now I'd like to go to opposition. If there's anyone on the lines who'd like to speak in opposition to Senate Bill 82.
Once again, the line is open and working. However, there are no public testimony at this time.
Okay, thank you. And members, thank you for, I'm going slowly. I just want to make sure in case anybody's calling in or they're having trouble that they can jump on. A broadcast, anyone neutral who wants to be heard on Senate Bill 82.
The public comment testimony line is open. However, there are no callers at this time.
Right, well, thank you so much. Any closing comments you'd like to make, Senator Ratty?
Just my gratitude to you, Chair, for allowing us the opportunity to present the bill. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for bringing the bill. I will now close the hearing on Senate Bill 82. And the next item on our agenda is public comment. And I'd like to take a minute for broadcast, just to see if anybody is on the line who wants to make any public comment. We are limiting public comment to 2 minutes per speaker. And committee members, thank you for your patience. We're just giving it a little time to make sure if somebody's trying to log in, they can get on. Broadcast and production services. Is there anyone on the line who wishes to speak under public comment?
Yes, Chair, the public comment line is open and working. However, there are no callers at this time.
Right. Well, thank you, members, for being here. Thank you, Senator Ratty and Mr. Duncan, Mr. LaRiviere, Mr. Hillerby. We will be meeting next Tuesday, the 23rd at 3:30. We hope to post that agenda soon, and everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you on Tuesday.
Thank you.